Hey, this is Loud and Gaming with another video for you relating to the Pokemon-like game. Some of you were asking for like an inventory system and how you would do that. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done any kind of videos or programming. I've been pretty busy with work, and then I just got done with Ludum Dare 23. Uh, so. Yeah, so I'm back to doing this Pokemon series, going to do an inventory system. So, just real quick, I want to let everyone know, appreciate your support. Uh, I haven't really played much Pokemon. I used to play Pokemon back in when I was in college. I think Yellow was what I had played. I didn't even beat the game. But lately, I've been watching some videos and of the newer Pokemon games, Pokemon Arceus and Scarlet. Those are looking pretty cool. Kind of thinking about maybe getting one of those. Not so sure. They're $60, so I'm not sure if I want to spend the money on that or not. But yeah, just maybe put in the comment which of those games you like, Arceus or Scarlet, which one you think is better, or anything else. So let's get going with this video. Now, I want to say this. I just spent like an hour programming this already. And when I got done, the video was not correct. So I'm not going to redo everything. So this video is not going to be as long. I'm just going to show you the scripts that I made for making an inventory. Um, so first thing is these are the different scripts that I made for the inventory. So I have a script called inventory, which all this does, and I'll load it really quick. All it does is have a public list of all the items that you would be carrying or the player would have. And in my player data, where we're saving or storing all the data for our player, right here I have a public inventory uh, right here. And then, so that's the inventory, really simple. Now that has a list of items. So an item, and actually I'm going to make this an abstract class. Okay, so let's just make an abstract class. An abstract class is basically nothing can be an item, but something needs to inherit from an item. You can't just create an instance of an item, but other scripts can inherit from this. And the item just has an amount of how much of the item you have, the string, and then we have this virtual void use item action. And this is going to be called anytime we click the item we want to use, it will run this method. Now it's virtual, meaning that nothing in here will have the code, but anything that inheritance from it will need to override this. I wonder if there's something else that forces like you have to do it. I'm not sure, but so that's that. Then another script we have. So that's the item, and we have a monster box. So the monster box is your Pokeball. Only in this game it's a box. So our monster box, uh, right here, it inherits the item, and we are overwriting that use action. Actually, let me take this and put this up top. This is the construct for when I make if you make a monster box, it's going to get an amount. It's going to set the name of the item to monster box, and then it sets the amount for the monster box to whatever amount you send it to. All right, so that's that. And then we have now we're overriding that use item. And basically I just copy and pasted from the button where originally you would click catch. And so it's checking to see that we are actually in our player select state, and then we are going to call the catch function, or actually we're changing the state to catching. So that's that. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. So that's the item. Now, so the inventory system itself is actually pretty easy. You saw. we have a list, we have a class called inventory, and we have a list of any kind of item, and we have a monster box that inherits from the item, and we have a action that it'll perform when you actually click on it. So it's pretty easy to do. The difficult part with inventories isn't so much managing the data as much as it is displaying it in the UI. And actually what I'll do before I look at the inventory UI, let's create a new item. So I'm going to go create. I'm going to create a new script, and we're going to call this a potion for healing. All right. So I'm going to open up that script, and I'm going to delete all this, and we're going to inherit this from the item. Like I said, I already spent an hour, and I've actually already made this, but I figured I could re-show this part. Didn't really want to re-show all of it again. But then, this will be a quicker video for you to watch. And again, I think some of you wanted to see inventory, so here it is. So we're going to do a public construct for it, potion, and we're going to send it in an amount. All right, boom, we're done. Now we want to do this dot amount is equal to amount, and then we want to say name is equal to potion, and it'll use this name to display it in the window. Now we want to do an override. We want to override the use item action. So again, in our item script, this is a virtual method, meaning that whatever inheritance it can override whatever this is. Now, if you notice in when I did it here, it does this called base.use item action. So in my original item, my virtual void use item action, if I had some code here like amount is minus minus, right? So I could put this in there so that anytime you use the item, it would take one away. So I could even say then, do some other code in here, but we could automatically subtract it from it. So then in my potions, when I use the item, it will actually use the base one first. I don't want to do that because I already have it set up somewhere else for taking away the amount, so I'll just delete that. Okay. So that's what the base is for. All right, so how do we want to do this? We want to, let's go to our battle manager and see if we can figure out where the current monster is. It's been a while since I've done any of the programming for this, so I'm not really too sure. What's what? Okay. So we have monster data, turn 1, turn 0. So I'm assuming turn 0, monster data, turn 0. I'm assuming this is the current, the player's monster. It's a good question. Where is the initiative, random? Oh, you know what? Okay. I think I know what I'm doing. All right, so basically, okay, our monster data is 0 here in our go to definition. Let's make this public. All right, so now we can access that. So in our potion, we're going to say battle manager. Now this would not be good, right? We would not want to do this. We would want to we would actually want to be able to choose which Pokemon or monster we wanted to heal, and that would include another step, another menu. And right now I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is, just to make it simple, is heal whichever is the current Pokemon that's our current monster that's fighting. So battle manager instance monster data 0. Let me just make sure I don't accidentally heal the wrong one. Yeah. Okay. So 0 is for the player, and that's for the enemy. I should make that a little bit more clear in my code. At least I'm hoping that's right. We'll find out. So we're going to say that battle manager HP is plus, and we'll just hard code this as 30. And then if this was greater than the max HP, then we'll just set it to the max HP. All right, so now we have a potion. That's how easy it can be to make items. Just say how much you want, give it the name, override this, and then we need that there. And then whatever you want the item to do, you do that inside of here. Now it could get complicated depending on the item you're using and whether or not you're using the item in the overworld or during battle. You have to manage all that. Right now, I'm just making it really easy. Use this only using items in the battle manager or during a battle. So that is how you make a item. Now to kind of test this out, I think I might already have it in here. But basically, here, let me get rid of this. We can just say new. So here in my player inventory on the start, I'm just going to give my player inventory the items. I'm just adding. Let's add some monster boxes, and we'll give it four monster boxes. And then this line here is just adding that potion, 3 of them. So now our player is going to start with 4 monster boxes and 3 potions. And so that's how you do it. Now if you did something like this, and I'll just do it for fun. Items.add new potion. Let's say I add 2 more. We're going to see 2 buttons for the potion. It's not going to combine the 2. So I don't have any code that when I add it. So this is where, like in my inventory, I would want to manage that instead. I would maybe, this could actually maybe be a dictionary, so you can have more than one of the same items instead of a list. And then I would have maybe a function inside here, like public void add item, and we would send it an item, and we're going to say if items dot contains item. So we already have this item. Actually, would it work that way? I don't think it would. This is where you would probably want to do it as a dictionary instead. But let's say we do add item, and we would do something like for each item in, come on, item in, I guess I can't do item. For each item, inventory item in items, then we would say if item dot name is equal to the inventory dot name. So what we're going to do is just loop through all the items and see if we already have that item in our inventory. And if we do, we're just going to say inventory item dot amount is plus equal to the item dot amount. Okay, and then we're just going to return because we are done. If we go through all of them and we don't have it, then we're going to say items dot add item. So this might be a better way of doing that so that we don't have to just add the item like that. So let's go to the game data. So instead of doing this, because this would actually create two buttons in our inventory, and they would say both potion, and one would say potion 3 and the other one would say potion 2. But instead, we can say inventory dot add item new potion 3, and then we can do the same thing again, and we're going to give it 2. So now it should combine those two together. Alright, so that's how we are adding items. So all that part is kind of easy to do. The difficult part has to do with the UI. So I'm going to show you the UI. If I go to the scenes, the battle scene. First I have a empty game object, and this empty game object has a script called inventory UI. And I will look at that script in a sec, but it's getting a button prefab. It knows the main panel, this is for opening and closing, and then it has like an inventory panel, that's where we're actually setting the buttons to. So if I go to that, now I'll say this right now, it doesn't look the best, but this is a scroll bar. It uses a scroll view, so if you go into your canvas, you right click on it, you go UI, you have something called scroll view. If you click on that, it creates a game object with a script called scroll rect, and you can set different settings to that. And then underneath that, it creates the two different bars that it uses, and it actually has a script called scroll bar. And then it has a viewport, and in the viewport it has an image, but it also has a mask. And the way that the mask works is you have a content, and this is in this content game object. This is where you would put all of your objects, all of your buttons would populate in here. And so if I take this viewport, and actually and you see how I can kind of stretch it? If anything that's inside the viewport, it will show it. When I stretch it, you see how it automatically changes this vertical bar? So I stretch it out like that. And then this could scroll. Well, I can't do it now. This would then scroll, and it would kind of move this up and down. But anything underneath this viewport would not show. So that's kind of how it works. So let me just delete this. Now, I'm kind of having some issues with this, and they're not always the easiest things to work with, not the easiest things to set up. In my item panel, I have a vertical layout group, and I have the child force expand the width of it. I don't know if I want to have that enabled or not. If I take it away, it doesn't really instantiate it very well. If I put it in there, it kind of just makes it kind of messy. And I would probably be spending like an hour just to try and figure out how to make it look right. I always do that. It always seems to be a pain in the butt to get this to work exactly the way that you want it. But It's not a big deal for this project right now. But yeah, this is the inventory panel, and this is what, in my inventory UI, it's opening up the main panel, and then it's setting it. I have a prefab here called item button, and all the item button has is a text mesh pro on it, and it has a script called item button, which is being used to, when you click on it, it's calling that the use function on the item, and it just has a reference to the text mesh pro so that it can set it, and that's in the item button prefab. All right, so let's take a look at the scripts. Let's take a look at the item button. So it's a model behavior. Here's that variable for getting the text mesh pro text, and then the item that will be set, that will set this item button. So if it's a monster box, it would be a monster box. If it's potion, potion. We're actually not using the starter of the update, but we have a function here that sets the item. When it creates this game object, we're going to call this. And really, we don't have to do it this way. We could put this in the start function, but I just put it here. And then we're setting the item text to the item name plus a little bit of a space and the amount of the items we have. Um, Let me do this. I'm gonna update this. Well, that's fine. So here's when we click on the button, it calls this method right here, the use item method. The use item method is going to call that use item action from our items. So in our case of our potion, it would then run this script. If it was a monster box, it would run the monster box script of try and catch. Where was I? Item button. Then it's going to take away one of the items. If the item is less than 0, we're going to destroy this button from the, actually it calls this function called destroy item from the UI manager. And then we're just going to close the inventory so that we don't see it again. You don't have to do the close inventory at this point if you wanted to, but I think probably a lot of Pokemon games just closes it after you use something. I'm not actually too sure, but probably the newer ones don't. You might want to leave this open, and that way you can click them several times. But this will close it. All right. I hope that's making sense to you. But this item button has an item. We're setting it up, and then we're going, whenever we click it, we're going to use that item. So that's the item buttons. And then let's look at the inventory UI. That's probably the last one we got to look at. So this manager is handling the displaying of it. So these are those variables I showed you that I can add to or set up in the inspector. We're going to have a list of item buttons that way we can destroy them all if we need to, or reference them if we need to. And then I make this a static. And remember, a static is a single instance of this class. There can only ever be one of them in the scene or in your project. And we're calling it an instance, and that way we can access this one throughout any script we want. We don't have to attach it through Unity or anything like that. And then this on the wake, we want to make sure that we don't have an instance of it already. So let's say in our scene with the main map scene, if it had a game object with the inventory UI, when I load up a new scene, and let's say I didn't want to destroy it, well, if that scene also has one, you would have something conflicting. So this is just checking to make sure, hey, do we have this, is this null? Is the static null? Not the game object, but the static class null. Because the very first object is going to make it, add it to it or set it. If not, if it's null, we're going to set it to this one. If it is null, or if it's not null, then we're going to destroy that game object. We don't need it. We already have one. So that's what this does. I don't know if that was the best explanation, but there you go. And we've used them before with our battle manager and our data, our game data. All right, setting up the inventory. So this is going to be called when we actually open up the inventory. And all it does is it loops through all the items in our player inventory. And then it calls this function or method called create item. And it sends it that item. So here in the create item, originally I had this code inside of here, but then I took this out just in case you ever wanted to create an item. Let's say your inventory was already open and you added an item to your player and you wanted to update that right away. So this is how you would do it. So in the create item, we are creating the game object of that prefab and setting its parent to, now this is kind of confusing, it says inventory panel. It's really the content view of the inventory panel where we're setting it to. And then we're going to get the item button from the temp object by using get component item button. So we're getting that script that's attached to the prefab, or actually when we create it. And I was just debugging this to make sure that I was having some errors. And then we're going to set the item button item to this item that we just sent to this method. And then after we do that, we're going to set the item button, which I showed you that previously, where it just says the game text. This is probably unnecessary. We could probably just do it in the, put this in the start thing. Let's go back here. And then we want to just add this button to our list of buttons that we've made so far. All right, so kind of straightforward. So, and this is being called when I open the inventory. So the open inventory is, if I go back to Unity, I changed the, originally this button here was the catch button. I changed it to the inventory button. So when I click on it, it's going to call the inventory UI open inventory method. And the way that you do that, you just like drag the game object into the on-click event. You just drag it into there, and then yeah, and then you set the method you want. So when you click on that, if it's already open, so that's what this does, main panel dot active in hierarchy, that means we can see it in the game. If we can see it, then we're just going to close it. So if you click on it and it's already open, we're going to close it. Else, we're going to then set up the inventory. We're going to create all those buttons again, and we're going to make it true. We're going to be able to see it. Now if we ever do close the inventory, this is a close inventory thing. We're going to go through all of our game objects of the item buttons. We're going to destroy each of them, and we're going to clear them out. And then we're going to say main panel dot set active to false. There's probably like a better way of doing this, but this is just how I'm doing it. Just make it kind of quick and easy. And then I have this other function that if we ever want to destroy an item, let's say we still had the inventory open and we want to just destroy it, an item, we would then just destroy an individual item button if we wanted to. And that was pretty much it. So an inventory system isn't too difficult. Again, we just have a script of inventory that has a bunch of items, a list of your items. You have a script called items, which is abstract, which has a function called use item actions, which then you can create something like a monster box, which overrides that function, or a potion, or if you wanted to do like, was it the experience candy? You know, if I wanted to do that, I could do that as well. Yeah, you know, that wouldn't be too hard either. And then you just have to have some way of managing your UI. Alright, so let's see how this all works and if it does work. So let me go to my scenes. And I'm going to say this right now, the UI does not look good at all, but it is functional. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So here we go, walking in the grass. All right, we have our Pokemon we want to fight. I have not updated the text at all. Haven't really done anything. So if I click on the inventory, let's see if this works. Cross our fingers. All right, there we go. So we have our monster box. You see how it kind of looks off a little bit. I don't know why it's setting it off to the right a little bit, but that's something I would have to mess around with and fix. But we have a monster box, and we have 4 of them. We have potions, and we have 5. Remember, in our scripts, I had done the 3 and the 2, and so that function now that I just made puts them together, so we don't have 2 of them. So now if I use a monster box, I'm going to click on it. Alright, now, right now I have no animations, it has nothing, I just have this debug right here that says we missed catching. If I go in my inventory, we only have 3 monster boxes. I'm going to try that again. We didn't catch him again because he's at full health. Let's attack him. Let's do a shock attack. Bam. Man, he got me pretty good. Let's do it again. Let's shock attack him again. Alright, now let's go to our inventory. Let's throw another monster box. We missed, darn it. Let's try again. Oh, we missed again. Come on. I might die probably. Let's go to my inventory. Let's choose a potion. Boom. Now, it did not update this. I did not put that in the code. So there'd be something I would want to do to update this. But if I run away from the monster, so I was at 14. Let me run away from the monster and see if this is actually working. So I ran away, and look, I'm back to 30. Okay. Let me attack. Shock. Attack you again. Shock. Attack you one more time. Ooh, he's dead. I do not have any code that does anything after he's dead. After he's dead, we are kind of done with the game. Why is that showing Monster Box 0? Monster Box 1. Okay, so what happened there? Let's see. Let's see if we can fix that bug really quick. If item dot if item dot amount is less than or equal to this, so then we go definition, destroy item. Oh, that's just destroying. Oh no, that's destroying the game object. Item buttons that remove item. Destroy item button. Oh, you know what? I need to actually do this. I need to say game data dot instance dot player inventory dot remove. So we might actually want to say comma item dot remove here. Hold up. Let's not put it here. Let's go to our item button. We'll actually do it here instead. We're going to say player inventory dot items dot remove item. So we no longer have it. Let's see if we can catch a monster. But yeah, you can see the inventory system, how you can do it. We did not catch anything. Click on inventory. We missed. Yay, alright, we caught him. Let's go to our monsters. Let's get this one out. His health is at 6. Let me go to inventory. Let's give him a potion. You can see my monster box is at 1. Let's get some potion. Let me attack. See, my health did go up. Let me attack again. Man, he's crushing me. Let me throw a monster box at him. We missed him. If I go to inventory, we no longer have it. I can use a potion again. Shock him. Shock him. Shock. Alright, we destroyed him. Alright, so that's it. That's how you do an inventory system. Sorry I didn't, you couldn't see me actually typing out everything. Hopefully you were able to at least follow along and see how it was done. And it's not really that difficult. The hardest part is just getting the UI to look correctly. And managing that, the actual creating the items. Again, I can just go to my scripts here and go inventory, say create scripts, and let's call it Candy XP. I don't even know if there's XP in my game yet. And I just change this to item. We do a construct, public candy XP int amount. And we just say this amount is amount. Name is equal to candy XP. And then we just say override the use items. And in here, we would just do the add XP to the monster. And I don't even know if there is one. Battle manager dot instance dot monster data 0 dot XP. I don't even have XP yet. So did I really not do XP at all? Did I not have like the leveling system yet? I guess I didn't do that yet. Well, anyways, that's what you do. You just had that function there so that when you use the candy, it would then do that. So thanks again for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. We'll see if I do any more. Some wanted to do the saving system, so we'll just see. Put a comment if you would like to see how to save all this information. Obviously, there's a lot to this game. I'm pretty busy with doing other programming, so I don't want to do everything. I'm also still thinking maybe to do like a Legend of Zelda kind of clone. If you're interested in any of this, just please leave a comment. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.